Two people, one life. Why one gets rich and the other works forever and has nothing to show for it. Meet Mike. Mike is 41. He wakes up at 5:30 in the morning, not because he wants to, because he has to. First job starts at 7. Second job starts at 4 in the afternoon. He gets home around 10 at night, reheats dinner in the microwave, sometimes eats standing at the kitchen sink, because sitting down at the table requires energy he simply doesn't have anymore. Mike has been living like this for 9 years. His bank account right now has a little over $800 in it. That's everything he has. A safety net that lasts about a week and a half, if something goes wrong. Now, meet Alex. Alex is also 41. He wakes up around 8, has his coffee slowly, sometimes goes for a run. Works from home a few hours a day. On Fridays, he tries not to work at all. Alex is not richer than Mike by nature. He is not smarter. He didn't have wealthy parents. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't inherit anything from anyone. The difference between them is not luck, not talent, not how hard they work. The difference is in how they think about money. And how those thoughts, often invisible, often unconscious, drive every single decision they make, every day. Today, we're going to look at that difference. No complicated terms, no boring lectures. Just honestly. When Mike was 28, he got a raise, a good raise, $400 more every month. He was happy for about 2 weeks. Then he moved into a nicer apartment. His old car started breaking down. He bought a new one, on credit. His phone felt outdated. He got a new one. Subscriptions, restaurants, better clothes, everything slightly upgraded, slightly more expensive. 3 months later, there was nothing left from the raise. His salary had gone up, but he had no more money than before, as if some invisible hand was constantly lifting the ceiling of his expenses to meet the level of his income. Economists have a name for this. They call it lifestyle inflation. But in plain human terms, it's just a trap. And it catches not only people with small salaries, it catches lawyers making $200,000 a year, CEOs, people with beautiful cars and empty bank accounts. Mike didn't know about this trap. Nobody told him. School taught him algebra, but never taught him what to do when money finally showed up. Alex knew. Not because he was smarter, just because at age 26, he read one book. You've probably heard of it. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Maybe you read it too. Maybe you even nodded along. But here's the thing. Millions of people read that book and went right back to doing exactly what they were doing before. Because knowing something and actually doing it are two completely different things. What Kiyosaki's rich dad said, in the simplest words possible, was this: rich people pay themselves first, then they pay everyone else. Mike did it the other way around. First, he paid everyone, rent, loan, food, subscriptions, and then looked at what was left. Usually, nothing was left. Alex, on payday, moved 20% into a separate account before touching anything else. Then he lived on the rest. Sometimes it was tight, but the account grew. The difference seems small. In reality, it's enormous. I want you to ask yourself something right now. Honestly, if you lost your job tomorrow, how many months could you survive? Don't overthink it, just honestly. How many? 1 month? 3? Less? Studies show that more than 60% of working people couldn't maintain their lifestyle for even 1 month without a paycheck. 1 month. 30 days. That's not security. That's a very comfortable prison. Mike knows this feeling. He's thought about it many times, especially when his boss is unbearable or when the job becomes too much. He thinks, I'll quit. I'll find something better. Then he looks at his account, and he stays. Because $800 is not freedom, it's a sentence. This is exactly how golden handcuffs work. They don't hurt going on. You put them on yourself. Gradually, willingly, even with a smile. A car loan, a nicer apartment than you need, a phone on installments. Each decision feels perfectly reasonable. Together, they turn you into someone who cannot afford to leave a job they hate. Alex at 33 quit his job, just like that, with nothing lined up. His friends thought he had lost his mind. But he had 18 months of savings, 18 months of freedom to find what he actually wanted to do, not what he was forced to do. No magic, just years of 20% aside, month after month. Until the golden handcuffs became just a bracelet he could take off whenever he chose. There is one psychological trap that cost Mike, if you add it all up honestly, probably 5 years of his life. It has a simple name. We care what other people think. When Mike's neighbor bought a new BMW, Mike didn't sleep for 2 nights. Not from envy exactly, more from a strange restlessness. As if the neighbor had done something right and he hadn't. As if the BMW was proof that someone had figured life out. A month later, Mike took out a loan for a car he didn't need. Beautiful, expensive, 5-year loan. He's still paying it off. Here's the thing though, when you see a nice car on the street, you don't actually think about the driver. You think about yourself, about how you would look behind that wheel. The driver is just a prop in your own fantasy. Mike bought a car for people who were actually thinking about themselves, not about him. Alex drives an 8-year-old Honda, not because he can't afford better, because he understood something a long time ago. Nobody cares about his car. People care about themselves. The money he didn't spend on a new car, he invested, years ago now. Those dollars are working while Alex sleeps. Not a lot, but every single day. Mike works while Alex sleeps too, literally, on his second job, the night shift. There is one word that changed Alex's life. One word. Short. Almost boring sounding at first. Asset. An asset puts money into your pocket, by itself, without your involvement, while you sleep, while you rest, while you live. Everything else is not an asset. A car is not an asset. A new phone is not an asset. Expensive sneakers are not an asset. These are things that cost you money, every month, even when you're not using them. Mike spent his whole life buying things, beautiful things, useful things, sometimes not so useful things, but things. Alex bought assets. First small ones, index funds, $100 a month. Then more. Then a small apartment he rents out. Now the apartment pays his own rent. He lives for free on someone else's money. Sounds out of reach? Alex started with a smaller salary than Mike's. He just followed one rule every month. Asset first. Everything else second. Mike bought things that lost value the moment he owned them. Alex bought things that grew in value over time. 10 years later, the gap between them is enormous. Not because one was smarter, because one knew the rule and the other didn't. Honestly, Mike is not a stupid man, not even close. He's kind, reliable, hardworking, the kind of person you can count on. He just has one enemy, an enemy he barely notices. Fear. Not fear of the dark or heights. A different kind. Quiet. Chronic. Constant. The fear that there won't be enough. The fear of taking a risk and losing. The fear that if he stops working every day, everything will fall apart. This fear keeps him at a job he hates. Stops him from investing, because what if he loses it? Stops him from starting something of his own, because what if it doesn't work? Psychologists call this learned helplessness. When a person has gone so long without seeing results from their efforts, their brain quietly, gradually learns that trying is pointless. Mike tried saving money once, had to spend it in an emergency. Tried investing. The market dropped, he panicked, sold at a loss. Tried starting a small side business. It didn't take off. And now, he just works. Hard. Every day. Without really believing anything will change. Alex was scared too. At 26, when he first invested, his hands were shaking. The portfolio dropped 20% within 3 months. His friends laughed. His mother told him he was being reckless. He didn't sell. He waited. A year later, he was up 30%. The difference isn't that Alex is fearless. The difference is that he understood fear is normal. But decisions need to be made in spite of fear, not instead of it. Mike is 41 now. So is Alex. They grew up in the same city, went to the same school, started with similar salaries. Mike works 2 jobs. He's exhausted. He dreams of one day getting some rest. Alex works when he wants. He rarely gets exhausted. He's already taken 2 vacations this year. Here is what I want you to understand, and this is the most important thing in this entire video. Alex didn't do anything extraordinary. He's not a genius, not lucky, not the son of a millionaire. He just learned a few simple rules early on, and he followed them, even when it was hard, even when it was scary, even when his friends shook their heads. Mike never learned those rules. Nobody told him. School didn't teach him. His parents didn't know them either. And that is the real tragedy of this story. Mike is a good person. He deserves better. He works harder than Alex, much harder. But the system is built in a way where hard work alone doesn't make you wealthy. It just keeps you from hitting the bottom. What builds wealth is decisions, small ones, daily ones, almost invisible ones. 20% aside before you spend the rest. Asset first, everything else second. Don't buy for other people's eyes. Buy for your own life. Don't be afraid to invest. Be afraid not to. This isn't magic. This isn't some secret of the wealthy. It's just what nobody ever taught us. Look at your spending from last month, honestly. How much of it was for your actual life, and how much was a performance for people who weren't even watching? Because while you're buying things to look successful, someone else is buying assets to become free. The choice is yours. This has been Psychology Unfiltered. Subscribe for more honest dives into how we actually think, decide, and live. And we'll see you in the next one.